For 3 years, Lord Corlys and Prince Daemon have battled Craegus Drahar and his pirates in the Stepstones, without the Iron Throne's support. Meanwhile, King Viserys plans a great hunt to celebrate his and pregnant Queen Alicent's son Aegon's second birthday. Rhaenyra resents her father's excessive attention toward her half-brother Aegon. The ailing king insists that Rhaenyra, now 17, must marry to form a strong alliance and protect their lineage. Many suitors are considered, including 2-year-old Prince Aegon. Lord Lionel Strong recommends Sir Laenor Valerian, Lord Corlys' son, as a potential match to mend the rift between the two houses. Overcoming previous doubts, Viserys assures Rhaenyra she remains his heir and can choose her consort. Meanwhile, brothers Hobart and Otto Hightower secretly scheme to make Aegon the successor, furthering their family's power and prestige. After Sir Vaemon Valerian pleads for the king's help, Viserys agrees to send aid to the Stepstones. Seeing his brother's support as ending his chance to prove himself, Daemon acts as bait to ambush the Triarchy warriors, killing the crab feeder and winning the ensuing battle before the Crown's forces arrive. Thanks for stopping by Surge T channel. I'm Surge T, and that is the synopsis of episode 3, titled Second of His Name. And so far so good when it comes to House of the Dragon. A very good episode. Loved the way it ended. Loved how Daemon went in there, seemingly looking to surrender himself. But like the synopsis says, he was just using himself as bait, as his backup. You know, the guys that he's been with, the guys that he's been in the trenches with, all come out and they pretty much vanquish, you know, the pirates of Craegus Drahar. And it's funny because when they sent the guy who had Viserys' letter, and he had people with him, his soldiers with him, and it seems like the messenger, they say don't shoot the messenger, but oftentimes during medieval times and all that, when the messenger sends bad news, he gets his ass handed to him, or he gets killed, or he gets beaten up, or whatever. I mean, he didn't send bad news, but Daemon just beats the holy crap out of the guy, and he pretty much did not want his brother's help. He didn't want to have his chance to shine, or his chance to at glory be thwarted or taken away from him. So he pretty much did a good thing in the sense of his plan, his men, and then also with Lord Corlys. He even chastised his own brother. Even his son, Laenor Valerian, he even called out his uncle too. What did he say? Lord Corlys said to his brother, he said, even though we're blood, don't even think about causing a mutiny. Because he don't want his guys to help Prince Daemon. But Prince Daemon, according to what Laenor Valerian said, he's going out there and he's fighting. Like, at least he's doing his part. And I saw it coming. I saw it coming when I knew that Prince Daemon was pretty much setting a trap. But before his guys came, his backup came, it's like he was taking all these guys one on one. It's kind of funny because you see a whole bunch of guys coming out of the out of the cave. Here's the crab feeder, that guy, and he's like, he just motions them out. They're all coming out, but then when you see Prince Daemon, it's like one on one. It's like there's not a whole bunch of them coming at him. Like, what happened to that? Are they like running, 20 paces behind the person so that, you know what I mean? It's just like when you watch, Bruce Lee movies or whatever. It's like, and don't get me wrong, I love Bruce Lee, but it's always like one at a time. When you fight, in fight scenes and all that stuff. But he still proved himself to be a badass. I mean, I liked how he handled himself. And did I think he was gonna get killed or die? I was thinking, especially when them guys were shooting arrows down on him, and he's underneath that cart or whatever that was, and it had no real protection. It was all a bunch of holes in it, in the sense that there was space for arrows to go through, and he got hit a couple times. And I keep thinking that every time these guys get shot with an arrow, it doesn't matter what it is, Lord of the Rings, whatever kind of movie it is, they always like break it. You don't, but I guess if you pull it out, I guess you're gonna bleed out. I guess they do that so that later on they'll take it out carefully, surgically, whatever. And but it looked like he was gonna get his ass. That was gonna be his ass, and he's gonna be done. But all of a sudden you see from behind his boys come through, and his soldiers come through, and his backup and all that stuff come through. But he conquered these pirates with and with crab feeder. I mean, they conquered them, and he did it on his own with his soldiers, with his people. The crown's forces didn't even arrive yet, if at all. And then he goes in there later on. He goes after the crab feeder, and then he comes out, with the top half of the crab feeder's body. Didn't see a fight go down. Didn't see nothing. He just came out, and he was looked upon. And I think it was Corlys that looked at him, Lord Corlys, and his blood drenched. His hair didn't even look blonde. Looked like he dyed it brown, or dyed it red, if you will, because it was just covered in blood. So I don't know if the crab feeder was that much of a weak person. Like he needed his people fighting for him, and he would stand behind them because like he didn't put up a fight. Or was Lord Damon? I mean, yeah. I mean, Prince Damon was just that much better. Because he came out, like I said, top part of his body. He puts, he places them on the ground, and then you see the entrails hanging out. Uh, I mean, kind of a letdown, kind of disappointing. Yeah, I wanted to see those two fight. But what did the crab feeder do other than lay, stick spikes or spike nails, whatever, through the prisoners or victims' hands, and then he just feeds, you know, you know, puts crabs on what do you call it, on the victims. There's like an opening scene where during this battle, and there's a guy that's you know there kind of like crucified, but he was on the ground. He had his hand, a spike go through his hand to place it up against the wooden block, whatever you want to call it. And then when he sees Prince Damon come in on the dragon, they're Dracarising every, if that's a word, everybody, blowing, having the dragon blow fire on everybody. And he's like, oh, yes, yes, my prince. He's yelling at him like, yeah, save us, something like that. And then all of a sudden when he lands, the dragon he just lands on top of the guy and squishing him. When the dragon stepped off of him, you see the bottom part of his body is all squished. So much for your prince, so much for your thing. But hey, he kind of did save him when he put it out of his misery, because that guy, I don't know if that guy was going to even survive. You know. And then you see the really, really what I really enjoyed. I enjoyed this, but then I really enjoyed the interaction between Rhaenyra and her dad, King Viserys. The two actors that play those characters are so good. The tension, you see the conflict. He wants her to prepare her to be married. He says, you have to marry. It's tradition, it's duty. He even says that about me. He says, hey, if it weren't for duty and, what's the word? I just forgot. But if it weren't for that, I mean, even he knows that that's tradition, not tradition, yeah. Duty and tradition, He knew that he had to produce an heir. And he's saying that about her. It's just like, she's always pretty much, I guess, because it's 3 years later, so I guess they pretty much were growing. There's a growing rift, and of course, because him and Alicent, Queen Alicent, they're since been married. They had a son, firstborn heir, like right out of the gate. They produce a son. I mean, produce a male heir, And that right there is like, that's going to kind of be in conflict with what he said regarding, you know, Rhaenyra being named heir. But then now that he has a male son, even Otto Hightower, his right hand, it's like pretty much, the hand of the king, if you will, it's pretty much saying, he even made a suggestion to make, you know, his, grandson Aegon as the suitor. I'm thinking these two are related, even though they're half blood. But then again, remember, this time, this day and age, even like when you watch those movies about knights and all that stuff, and about kings, and like just the same thing, like kings and queens and all that stuff, they intermarry. You know what I mean? It's normal for them. I mean, even the recent, queen, who's of course passed away this year, they're saying that her and her husband, you know, King Philip, are like they're like first cousins. If I remember hearing it so well, so it's not really out of the norm. I mean, it's not really out of the realm of reality. It's norm. It's a norm for these people. They intermarry. They marry cousins. They marry second cousins, third cousins. They marry. I mean, this is game. Remember Game of Thrones, right? You remember Jamie and Cersei? They're brothers, brother and sister, right? And they loved each other, and they bore what, three kids, right? Joffrey and Tommen and what do you call it? What's Mercedes, right? The daughter. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of normal. I'm like going, oh, that's right. That goes on. That goes on during this time. You know what I mean? So it's not really something to make you go ew. It's just okay. Even the king goes up. He's only two. He just turned two. But I don't think they're saying marry him now. I mean, but what's she gonna do? Wait, 15 years to get married, or marry him when he's 12? Like 10 more years. There's been Prince King. What do you call it? Child kings. I think Tommen from Game of Thrones. He was only what? Wasn't he only 12 or 13 when he married that girl? What's her name? But you know, but that's that, and that's how it is. That's how it goes. You can't complain. You can't go, oh, that's disgusting. It's normal. To us, it's like, what the hell, man? Like to them, it's normal. Just you know. Yeah, remember, Allison was only what, 15, 16, maybe, when she got married to Viserys. So he has a kid, another child on the way. So you know, I mean, I like the fact that he did finally relent with a little coaxing from his wife, from Queen Alicent, that he pretty much tells Rhaenyra, yeah, you're going to remain heir. I'm not going to supplant you. I'm not going to remove you. And then you're free to choose whoever you like, whoever you fall in love with, you know, blah, that, So, who's she going to choose? There's a lot of suitors, but then at the same time, you know, it's like, who's the guy that she was with? No, I'm trying to forget his name. Kristen Cole. Sir Kristen Cole. They spent some time after she kind of stormed out of it was a celebration of her half brother's you know second birthday or something like that. They even talked about a white hart, which was a white deer. They decided to kill a deer that's close to it. When they and then he had a sting, a sword. I mean, it's like a sword, but it's like a staff. And you know then kills that deer or buck or whatever you want to call that thing. But then later on, when Rhaenyra and you know and then, Sir Kristen Cole, I mean, she runs off in a huff, and she gets on the horse and she runs out there. Sir Kristen Cole sees her, goes after her, tries to stop her. knows that that horse is kind of out of control running, and he didn't want her to fall, to hurt herself, or whatever. He was able to stop him, and then they come close, face to face with Pomba, no, a boar, a wild boar, and you know, Sir Kristen kills it. Well, I think it was because it was on top of Rhaenyra, and she's trying to get him off. He kills her. He thinks so. He gets back up again, and then Rhaenyra, just shows the kind of badass she can be. She starts stabbing the thing to death. You know, but they do bring it back later on, and she's drenched in blood, and even some of the suitors and guys that were there were looking at her like, "Holy crap!" Like what the hell happened to her? Like, some guys were smiling, maybe pretty much saying that, "Wow, what a badass." But yeah, they saw the white hart, that deer. It's a white deer, white buck, or elk, whatever you want to call it. And Sir Kristen Cole was ready to engage it, kill it. She's like, "No, don't do it, don't do that." You could see that it kind of presented itself. It was like it looked right at her, and it was kind of looking stoic, kind of almost like sticking its chest out, like you want to, you know. But she said no, so that's that. And then so maybe it's going to be Sir Kristen Cole. They do got a kind of like a vibe between them. They enjoy each other's company. She had a big smile on her face when he was at that tournament in episode 1. You know, like he kind of gave an offering to her, whatever, however you call that thing, and then she goes, and then she says what she says in order to, I guess, bless him, give him her blessing, and then he fought and all that stuff. He knocked what do you call it? Didn't he knock Damon on his ass? I mean, he was a good opponent for Prince Damon. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I really did. I've been saying that for the last 2 episodes, but I just enjoyed it. Especially the battle scene, especially the fight scene. The last one, the last part of this episode. Prince Damon pretty much showing that he can handle his own. Like the fact that he went in there on his own, even though it was a setup, he pretty much was just presenting himself. Surrendering. It looks like he's surrendering himself. He even gets down to he's flagging the red, waving the red flag, white flag, I should say. Gets up to one knee, presents his sword. Pretty much saying, "I give up, take my sword." And it looks like the guy was gonna kill him or maybe chop his head off or whatever. And all of a sudden, in comes his backup and all that stuff. Or not? No. He started slicing and dicing. And then later on, the guys came and then they finished the job. And then he, pretty much, with his boys, won the battle. Very good. I mean, I like his character. He's kind of a, what do you want to call that? But he's the kind of a guy that's a really big thorn in Viserys' side. But he still loves his brother. He even was willing to send help. But his brother was like, "Man, you're not going to take my shine. You're not going to take my, what do you call that? My moment in the sun." So he pretty much just beat the hell out of the messenger. Man, he beat him up. Man, the guy's just a messenger. Don't beat the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. I don't know if he killed him, but he beat him pretty bad. His fellow soldiers had to pick him up and all that stuff. You see, Lord Corlys and others picking him up. I think his son was also doing the same thing. I'm like going, but you know how he is. He's got a lot of pride. He's not gonna let his brother do that, because then what's gonna happen? His brother's gonna have that on top of over his head. Like, well, you couldn't win. I had to send my guys in there to help you out. So he wanted to do all that before his backup came, and But that's all I gotta say about this episode. I enjoyed it. That's my recap of Second of His Name. But I enjoy it. I really do like this. It's I'm doing this every week, 1 episode a week, and I like doing it like this. I enjoy it. It gives me time to watch the episode and be able to talk about it, be able to do my thoughts and recap and all that. And like I said, I enjoyed this show, and looking forward to next week. I saw a little bit of the clip. They showed a little bit of after the episode. They show the upcoming episode. Looks very interesting, so that's why I'm really hyped for it, and I can't wait to check that out. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And in closing, and as always, take care.